Hi, this is Viraj, and in today's topic, we're going to talk about local variables in Java. So, in Java 10, Java introduced local variables in where the compiler can automatically figure out what the type of the variable is so that the developer does not have to specify at every point. So, let's go and take an example. In the screen, you see Eclipse running, and I have a class created called local var tester. I have the main method in here. And let's go ahead and just create a particular variable. In this case, I'll just define a string. Let's say variable name equal to Viraj. And immediately you'll see that there is no compile error. Nothing is flagged as an error over here, mainly because the compiler is able to figure out that the type of name is a string based on the fact that the right-hand side is a string. It's clearly a string, so the name should be a string. So compiler is able to figure that one out. Might not seem like a big thing, but let's say you create something like this, new hash map, and then let's say I say this to be a string, and then the return value should be a list of integer. Believe me, this is like short compared to some of the data structures out there. And then import the util. But immediately, let's say I'm going to assign this to a local variable. And yeah, what you see here is like ugly looking statement of declaration for a hash map, which takes in a string and returns a list of integer. Now I'm going to do a trick here. I'm going to hover on top of hash map to a control one, change type to a var. I can do this var right here. So what this means now is compiler is able to figure out the type of variable hash map just by looking at from the right hand side. What if I don't specify any of these types? It would still be valid because it knows that this hash map is a hash map which takes an object and returns object. However, there are certain limitations. Limitations are that if the compiler is not able to figure out, obviously, from the right hand side what the type is, then it cannot assign a type to that variable. For example, I cannot just simply say var O. That's not valid because there is nothing it has assigned to, so it's not able to figure out what that is. You cannot say O equal to null either because again, it cannot figure out what the type of the right hand side is. Or you cannot write function equal to x comma y, x plus y. That's also not valid because even though the right hand side is a lambda expression, it cannot just be assigned to func because we really don't know. Is it taking integers? Is it returning integers? Is it taking doubles? Is it taking floats? What kind of interface is this? So the compiler is not able to figure out the type or the interface, and that's why it's not able to assign a type to the func variable. So apart from these limitations, there are other limitations. One limitation is that you cannot use var as a local variable. For example, I cannot just say private var name equal to Viraj. That's not valid either. And if you hover on top of the var, it'll say var is not allowed over here, as expected. One other place it's not allowed is, let's say you create a function. You cannot use var in a parameter. Say, for example, I say private void some func and then say var x. That's not valid either because, again, var is not allowed over here. More appropriate thing over here is it should be an object. You're basically trying to say you can take any variable out there. Then you say it's an object. So there's a difference between object and var. Var basically tells the compiler, go ahead, figure out the type of the variable. You have enough information. You can do it. Object basically says it could be any one of its inherited types. Two different things.